Hello and thanks for joining us for our late night newscast coming to you from Arirang's news centre in Seoul. I'm Mark Broom. And we start tonight with the South Korean military's first live fire drills of the year. The big guns came out to play on Saturday as the armed forces hope to send a strong New Year's message to North Korea that further provocations along the border will be dealt with sharply and swiftly. Kim Young-gil reports.
They are the first live fire drills of the year, and most of the big guns are out. The South Korean Army's Cobra helicopters fire automated cannons to take out enemy positions. The shots slam into their intended targets, and more rounds are unleashed in quick succession to annihilate enemy lines. On the ground, K-1 tanks fire live rounds under the aerial cover provided by the helicopters.
In the case of a sudden provocation from North Korea, the South Korean Army will strike back quickly and with force.
South Korean-made K9 self-propelled artillery was also on display at the drill in Pocheon County, Gyeonggi-do Province, promising a strong defense against a potential North Korean attack. By the end of the drill, the K1 tanks carry out their final mission, destroying enemy targets. 500 MD light combat helicopters hover above, protecting the tanks and troops on the ground. Military officials say the drill was held to check combat readiness and to prepare for any provocations from South Korea's unpredictable neighbor to the north. Following North Korea's landmine attacks at the demilitarized zone last summer, South Korea's defense ministry says it expects more surprise, but small-scale attacks from the north this year as well. South Korean soldiers taking part in the drill promised to fight the enemy with will and courage, whatever the circumstances throughout 2016.
국민 여러분, 새해 복 많이 받으십시오. 화이팅!
Kim Young-gil, Arirang News.
Now, a local government-run think tank suggests North Korea will continue looking this year for an appropriate time to test another nuclear bomb. In a report released on Saturday, the Seoul-based Korea Institute for Defense Analysis said it remained highly concerned about Pyongyang's military intentions, particularly in regard to a possible test. It warned the North will likely focus on taking the initiative in inter-Korean relations while continuing to use military threats as a negotiating tool. The Institute also advised the government to come to a consensus with Washington in order to effectively prepare for various crises related to nuclear and other weapons of mass destruction. North Korea has conducted 3 nuclear tests in 2006, 2009 and 2013. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un attended the opening ceremony of a science technology complex on New Year's Day. The country's state-run Korean Central News Agency reported Saturday that the Sci-Tech Complex opened Friday to help spread the latest science and technology developed by the ruling Workers' Party. Kim, who, as you can see, was in attendance and he was there with all of his senior aides, said the centre would boost the regime's scientific prowess and lead a technological revolution. The location of the centre was not disclosed during the report. The centre's opening comes a matter of months before the Workers' Party plans to hold its first Congress in more than 3 decades. Kim Jong-un is expected to unveil North Korea's new policies and conduct a major reshuffle, which may include reinstating demoted military officials. Saudi Arabia executed 47 people on Saturday for what it said were terrorism-related offences. Among those killed was prominent Shiite cleric Sheikh Namir al-Nemir. He was put to death for his role in instigating massive anti-government protests during the 2011 Arab Spring. Almost all of the executed men were Saudi citizens. Saudi's Interior Ministry said the men were mostly convicted of adopting a radical ideology, joining so-called terrorist organisations and implementing various criminal plots. The majority of those killed were involved in attacks carried out by Al-Qaeda from 2003 to 2006 that killed Saudis and foreigners in the kingdom. That's according to the Saudi government. The simultaneous execution of 47 people is the biggest mass execution for such offences in Saudi Arabia since 1980. Now, New Delhi, the world's most polluted capital city, has been pulling cars off the road in an attempt to make life more bearable for its residents. The authorities there started limiting the number of cars on the city streets as of Friday based on licence plate numbers. Public transit and police presence has been increased to ensure that this limit is is adhered to. Now, most of the city's citizens seem to favour these limits given the awful air quality, but the real test is expected to come on Monday, which is when offices reopen after the New Year holiday. Air pollution in New Delhi is often worse than Beijing, often far worse, and New Delhi's attempts to tackle pollution are being watched carefully in other parts of India as well. According to the World Health Organization, 13 of the 20 most polluted cities in the world are in India. A team of local researchers have waded into the age-old nature versus nurture debate with some findings of their own. They say a person's environment and lifestyle have a much bigger impact on health than their genetic background. Park Se-young has the details.
Human beings are born with biological information from their parents in the form of genes. They're why children so often look like their parents and why family members might end up suffering from similar diseases. However, genes are just one factor influencing health.
Only about 5% of all cancers are caused by genes inherited from a parent. About 15 to 30% of cancers are triggered by smoking, and about 30% of cancers are triggered by food and drink.
Genes have an even smaller effect on obesity, which is linked to a person's diet and lifestyle.
90% of all obesity cases are the result of the person eating more and moving less. Even if a person had a genetic predisposition toward obesity, it's only expressed with an unhealthy lifestyle.
Experts add the fact that identical twins don't always develop the same diseases shows that other factors, including environment, diet, and lifestyle, can change a person's genetic destiny. Park Se-young, Arirang News.
Now, Hyundai Motor is on a hot streak in some of the world's biggest emerging auto markets. Korea's biggest automaker saw its market share in Brazil, Russia, India and Mexico, also known as BRIMs, rise to almost 11.5% in November. Hyundai Motors shifted just under 78,000 units in the 4 countries in that month. That's up nearly 4% compared to the same month a year earlier. By country, Hyundai sold the most in India, more than 43,000 vehicles, and the least in Mexico at around 2,500. But sales in the Central American market were up more than 25% on year. Analysts say Hyundai Motors' sales figures in the BRIMs are impressive considering the auto market is in a sharp downturn at the moment. South Korea has the 34th largest gold reserves in the world. Seoul-based KB Financial Group says it analysed data from the World Gold Council, which shows the Bank of Korea had 104 tons of the precious metal as of December. As you'd probably expect, the United States has the largest gold reserves in the world by far at more than 8,100 tons. Just to give you an idea of how much that is, that's almost 80 times more than South Korea. Second was Germany, followed by the International Monetary Fund, Italy and France. China and Russia ranked 6th and 7th respectively, but both were strong net buyers of gold in the third quarter of last year. Now, surfing is generally considered a sport people enjoy on hot summer days, but an increasing number of surfers in Korea are braving the frigid temperatures to enjoy the sport in midwinter. Han Da-eun tells us more.
This is the site of a winter beach in Korea's Gangwon-do province. If we take a closer look, a group of people are in wetsuits riding waves on surfboards. Temperatures may be sub-zero, but that doesn't seem to matter as long as they can enjoy the powerful winter swells.
Surfers know how thrilling it is to ride winter waves. Yes, it's cold, but once you start moving in the water, it's not as bad.
Surfers can ride the highest swells during winter on Korea's eastern coasts as they embrace the conditions and dive into the cold water. Experts say offshore breezes during winter also makes waves last longer.
I brave the cold to surf during winter because unlike other seasons, I don't have to wait for waves that long.
Up to 100 surfers rush to beaches across Gangwon-do province each day to conquer the mighty swells. Winter surfing is gaining more and more popularity as a special winter sport. Han Da-eun, Arirang News.
Yeah, that makes me feel cold just looking at them. Now, we're going to take a look at the weather on that note. And for those of you watching in Korea, you will be pleased to hear that the unseasonably mild conditions we had today are going to extend into Sunday as well. The overnight low is not going to be that cold either. It's only going to dip to 2 degrees Celsius. On Sunday, we can expect a high of 8 degrees in the capital, and it will be even milder further south. But temperatures are going to drop off fairly sharply from Monday, and as we go into the week, it will actually start to feel more like midwinter again. With that, let's take a look at the weather around the world. Well, those are stories we have for you at this hour. For more of the latest, don't forget to check out our website, arirang.com/news. Do enjoy the rest of your weekend. Goodbye.